I've treated over 1,000 people with ADHD, and this is the reason why they can't focus. Very first thing that I have found is after running lots of lab tests on a lot of my patients, the thing that I do find that's interesting is that dopamine is being broken down too quickly. Now, this process is known as the monoamine oxidase. And this is what breaks down dopamine and help regulate these different neurotransmitters. Now, as you might know, dopamine is important for focus, but if it's being broken down too quickly, then it's going to be very difficult for someone to focus throughout the day. So when I see this as an issue, when I'm testing my patients, what I'll do is I'll inhibit the monoamine oxidase, also known as MAO. And obviously medications can do this, but if you want to do things more naturally, great inhibitors for the MOA process is curcumin, berberine, St. John's wort, resveratrol, quercetin, fenugreek, and also something known as green oat herb extract. Now, as we inhibit this, then we should start seeing dopamine levels improve, and then we should also see focus improve. Now, that is just one reason of why dopamine levels can be low. Another reason can also be from something going from L-dopa that helps make dopamine, but it's more so the issue where L-dopa levels will be too high. When we test L-dopa and it's too high, but dopamine levels are still low. And the reason for this is the process known as aromatic amino acid decarboxylase, also known as AADC. And essentially, it's just taking L-dopa and helping dopamine. But there's a specific nutrient that helps with aromatic amino acid decarboxylase, and that is vitamin B6, but the activated form of vitamin B6, which is P5P. So when we test for this, I will look for this specifically, and if I see vitamin B6 levels are low, then obviously I need to supplement that because this process can be the culprit of why dopamine levels are low, and therefore your focus is also an issue. Now, if we see both dopamine levels are low and also L-dopa levels are low, then we have to think, what is the issue? Well, it's then the next thing up, which would be tyrosine. Now, you can look at tyrosine levels to see, are those low? Then we need to supplement tyrosine. But sometimes that's not the case. Sometimes it's not just by supplementing tyrosine it's going to solve the problem. It also can be from going from tyrosine to L-dopa, and that is known as tyrosine hydroxylase. So tyrosine hydroxylase, if that's insufficient, then it can't help convert tyrosine to L-dopa and then eventually to dopamine to help with focus. And so in this case, it is tyrosine hydroxylase is the issue. So what helps with tyrosine hydroxylase is specific key micronutrient cofactors, and these are zinc, magnesium, folate, vitamin B3, and also iron. So I will also test all of these because this can be the issue. If any of these micronutrients are deficient, then tyrosine hydroxylase is not going to work very sufficiently and therefore not make L-dopa and then of course to dopamine to help improve focus. Now, I get this a lot of labs to go over, so you should download my free lab protocol that I use with all my patients and clients when they are trying to identify the issues with their ADHD and their focus issues. So you can download that in the description below. Now, what if you've tried tyrosine and you are still having issues? Well, this can be the other reason, and your dopamine levels are low still, and your L-dopa levels are low, and tyrosine levels are still low even after supplementing it. Well, there can also be another conversion issue and something known as phenylalanine, which that can be because tyrosine is a non-essential amino acid, meaning that our body does make it. But what helps make tyrosine? Well, that is phenylalanine. Phenylalanine is an essential amino acid, meaning we have to get it from food. Our body can't just make it. And so if we're low in phenylalanine levels, then we need to start supplementing that or getting it more from our food and helping it, converting it into tyrosine. Then tyrosine eventually can help make dopamine and improving our focus. However, phenylalanine can also have an issue from converting from phenylalanine to tyrosine, and that can be the main culprit as well. And so this is known as phenylalanine hydroxylase. And so it has the same exact process as tyrosine hydroxylase. And that is the cofactors that we just talked about, which is zinc, magnesium, iron, vitamin B3, as well as folate. If any of those are low, then that can be the culprit of what is making it difficult from going from phenylalanine to tyrosine and then eventually to dopamine to improve focus. Now you might be asking, well, why don't we just focus on tyrosine? Why do we need to worry about phenylalanine? Glad you asked, because the most important thing, and I see that 90% of people with ADHD are low in this very specific thing, and it's an excitatory neurotransmitter. Very important for focus, it's very important for mood, also our happiness and regulation of different chemicals in the body, and this is known as phenylethylamine. It's an excitatory neurotransmitter, like I said, and it's dependent on phenylalanine. That very important amino acid is what helps make phenylethylamine. So that's why we need to make phenylalanine a very important supplementation or something that we need to get from our food if we see phenylethylamine, also known as PEA, is low. But it also can be the conversion. So we can't just supplement it and hope for the best, because sometimes the conversion from going from phenylalanine to phenylethylamine, and this is also the aromatic amino acid decarboxylase process. So if you remember, I said the very important micronutrient for that is vitamin B6, the activated form, which is P5P. So if that is low, that could also be the culprit. Now, like I said, there could be many different reasons why you're not focused. So you should watch this video next. We're talking about the critical labs that every person that I've worked with that have focus issues or ADHD need to run these different labs. So watch this video next.